You have anything you want to say, Whiskey? That is all she will say, I guess. If you're like me, you probably have a lot of pictures of cars on your phone. That's kind of how it is to be a car guy. I'm here to help you edit those and get a stylish image out of it. Something that actually looks nice that you can post on Instagram or Facebook or probably TikTok at this point. So that's what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna help you figure out how you can edit the best pictures of any car on your phone and the workflow that I use and all of the applications that I use for that. And then I will show you how I do it on the computer, which is arguably a little bit more fun, but a little bit more involved. So let's jump into this video. Hopefully you get something out of it, starting with the cell phone. Let me show you what I'm talking about with this example picture. Like I said, the applications you choose to use can be different, but the workflow and the concepts should be basically the same. I'm gonna choose a picture that I took of just some car with my cell phone. This is from a Galaxy Note 10 Plus. I'm starting to forget it's a bit old, but either way, the same should apply for you. So we'll go ahead and we will hit share. And usually I send these over to Lightroom. Now, if you don't have Lightroom, I'll try to work with the aspects of the application that are not specific to Lightroom so that you can still do this. But if you do have Lightroom, you can go crazy. Okay, so usually you can hit auto and that will like increase highlights and bring out the shadows a little bit. Could also undo the auto and just start from lighting. This is a night shot, so it is going to be a little different already. Most of this applies in terms of the lighting. It'll make sense. So if our subject is this Camaro, I will want to probably increase the highlights a little. It is a white car. Maybe bring out the whites just a little bit as well. The shadows, you can go ahead and choose to bring those down a little. Blacks, I will do that just slightly as well. And then contrast, depending on the effect that you want. If we are just going to work with lighting and coloring, and then move on to another application, then we will stay away from effects. But you can, in fact, decrease contrast and then say come over here to clarity and, well, maybe not clarity, but dehaze, pump it up. That'll add some more saturation and contrast back at the cost of probably noise and accuracy. But we won't do that. That's just something you can do. So let's jump back over to light. Before and after, very useful. You don't want to over edit. This is a very real thing that people do. Here's a shot of my Instagram, by the way, just to show you like my style. It's a little punchier now, I guess you could say. Cropping and framing is a very easy thing to do. Generally, you can just pick an aspect ratio. You could do freeform. I generally don't. Like 3:2, that's good, I guess. But this is not a bad place to start. You can also, with an image like this, you don't have to put the subject center. There's what you could call leading lines. So I might choose to use the lines on the pavement to point towards the Camaro, right? So we'll kind of do that, something like that. Okay, so we've done a little bit of lighting, we've cropped in. We can now go over to color. It might be difficult to find an application that can do color mixing like this for free. We can go over to color mix, and here is where you get to be a little creative, although you don't want to go absolutely insane because you will just make it look like not reality. You want it to look a little like something that's real, but with your own twist on it. The green in the pavement, you can kind of see green, yellow, blue around there. It is around fall. It's starting to become that time. Let's just decrease the saturation of green. Maybe make cyan. We won't mess with that. Blue will change how this feels quite a bit. We don't necessarily have to change the hue of it. We can just maybe decrease saturation a little bit. That little tow hook that was green is gone, so it's not a standout point anymore. And then maybe just increase the luminosity of the blue. So if it is a little less saturated, at least it's a little brighter. There's a little before and after. Just subtle little changes here or there, and that's where your preference comes down to and what you want to do. Now yellow, if you have a subject that's a person, yellow, orange. Now, so to yellow, you can get away with cranking this in one direction or another. So here's a before and after. Already it feels better. Luminance you can also play with, and because there's so much in this image that was yellow, now that it's slightly orange, you can really see the change when I do that. So we'll just give that a little bit of a pump just so there's more detail in that. And then red, it's kind of hard to notice. Sometimes you got to peek around to see where some of these hues might be hiding within the picture. If you can't find anything, then generally maybe it's mixed into the image. So I'll just give it a little bit of a saturation bump and I'll be happy with that. I'm not sure about masking and where that's available, but if you're in Lightroom, here's what I would do. And you unlock a lot of potential when it comes to masking and what that means for the finished product. So let's jump over to masking. Typically, if I'm designing something that is going to be posted somewhere, I like to give it a slight frame. So we'll take a linear gradient. That's just a flat that you can manipulate like this. Okay. And from here, you can drag that top angle part. And because you're dragging further away, you can get really accurate. Just line it up nice like that. And then typically somewhere around the halfway line. And then we'll just pull down the exposure, the blacks, and then contrast doesn't really do much, but that gives it a nice little frame. And you can be a little looser with it. So we'll just increase that and pull it back down, and it will be more subtle, but it gives the image a nice frame. And framing is important. When you create something like this, you're trying to direct the focus, so this can help. So we'll add that mask, and then we'll come back over here and we'll do a radial gradient just around the subject like that. Now lighting, because it is white, we can boost the highlights a little bit. Shadows, depending on the details that you want. White and black, typically if it's a car, I like the white to pop more than anything, so we'll keep that there. Whites, we'll just pull up a little bit. These are all incremental, so when I was doing this earlier with the overall image, the reason you don't go crazy is because when you do step in and you do start masking or editing really specific parts, then it's complementary. If you were to do this all in the beginning, well, other parts of the image would be way too crazily over edited. If you do it slowly and incrementally, you'll have a better image overall at the end, unless you're going for something really stylized, in which case, have a blast, do what you would like to do. But if you want something that stands out without being over edited, this is how I do it. So honestly, that's okay. And if we do before and after, that's workable. And I took this on this phone. It was at night and it still came out okay. I don't have a tutorial on lighting. Maybe this is that tutorial, but that's what's helped me a lot over the years is understanding lighting. It's very, very useful. So, all right. So I'm happy with this from Lightroom. We can now bring it to a couple of other applications that you might want to throw it through depending on what you're going to do with it. I'll briefly go through those just so you understand why a decent amount of pictures. I never even edit on my computer because if you have a stylus and a phone with enough RAM, it's pretty convenient now in 2023, especially with phones and cameras being as good as they are. Anyways, I'm rambling. See you in a second. Beyond Lightroom, there's 5 apps that I'm really going to recommend basically everyone use. Some of them are paid, I will tell you which ones, but the rest are very useful and free. We have Glitch Lab. Glitch Lab is great because you can actually make animations, but you can really change how images feel with a lot of the different effects they have, like VHS tapes and distortions and the rest of it. The second one is Retouch. Retouch is really good for removing blemishes in basically any picture, and this came out before Generative AI, so it doesn't even use that, and it does a fairly good job, which is a good sign. Those first 2 were paid, by the way. The next app is Pixlr. This is basically free Photoshop. There are ads, and it doesn't do everything, but it does a decent amount of stuff, and you can get a lot done on your phone. The next one is called Lens Distortion or Light Distortion. You can add a lot of different effects like lens flares, aberration, particles, whatever. This next one is free, Background Eraser. You can make transparent PNGs. I use it all the time. There are ads, but if you know how to navigate the right way, you don't have to deal with them. So those 5 applications I just listed off, plus Lightroom, you can do an awful lot on your phone beyond what we're doing in today's video. Let's go over to the PC and finish this image. All right. So now that we're at the desk and we're sitting here in front of the computer, I will go over the software that I use on the PC side when it comes to editing. I'm just going to use the same image because that's straight out of Lightroom, and Lightroom is essentially the same no matter what, because it's synced online. And we can actually go into, let's say, Photoshop, and let's see what we can do. Typically, I'll just do this and we'll just center it and we'll call it good there. So the question now is, what are we doing in Photoshop? Why are we here? We already have something that is good enough, right? Well, let's correct the small things. You just hold Shift to continue circling, and you can hold Alt to move around. I believe H is hand. So if we use generative fill with our selected, you just type in remove. So let's say I don't want this little thing here. It's kind of annoying. We'll also just say remove on that real quick. So less distractions there. You can do all of that without using Photoshop AI. Either clone tool or an application specific to removing blemishes like the one I mentioned called Touch Retouch. With AI, if you have this, and other apps have tried to copy this, although I do think Adobe still is the best option, you can do a couple things. So, well, first of all, let's select everything. And then you hold Alt. See how the plus sign there, it has a minus? Well, now we can just come in here and just select most of it. And now you have a cutout in the middle. We can go to generative text, so it won't overdo the other things, and you can honestly just hit generate, and this should do the same thing as generative expand. It's just you've selected it. Now, which one do we like the most? We can also just hit generate and then get another swath of options. In this case, this third option, I like what's going on the left. I don't really like what's going on the right. So from here, I think this is all right. If you have lines that you want to get rid of, you can just come in here and just write remove blemishes. It's a little more clear that there's not something there. I also want to remove my shadow, so we'll go ahead and we will lasso the shadow. Okay. Very good results. Happy with that. Let's also get rid of this seam line here. The other aspect of the image that we might want to remove I would say be the car and the car cover, whatever it's called. That carefully come in here, and this is a great thing about Shift and Alt with the lasso tool, but just make sure you're not selecting the actual car. So we'll come up and we'll have that selected. So we'll hold Shift again, and we'll just come around that whole entire car there like that. The parking structure. Okay, and see it. I guess I got some of the Camaro. So we can fix this with Alt and maybe even be a little more precise. And now we have that car selected along with the covered parking. So we will say remove, and we'll just see what happens with remove. All right, so it did an okay job. You can see around the edge of the Camaro, sometimes it gets a little wonky. It wants to add on to the Camaro as opposed to seeing the difference. You just have to choose which output is better, or you can just keep hitting generate. So this is an okay option. If we go ahead and we look at that layer, it's a little different. Not that bad. How does it look when we zoom out? So this is already a different scene. We can touch up these other aspects here of the car, but honestly, it looks mostly okay. And from here, you can go absolutely crazy. So this part of the building, we'll just say remove, and it probably will fill in with more trees. And already we have a decent picture, but you don't need a whole lot of skill to do this. This is just a little bit of the capabilities that it offers. I use it all the time. It's great for thumbnails, especially if you have that one little thing. It's very convenient. I'm pretty happy with it. I hope that I've helped you and that you can maybe find some way to edit pictures of cars that you love in a way that is satisfying to you. If you got something out of this video, please hit the like button. It helps tell the YouTube overlords that I'm being helpful and people appreciate what we're doing here. Beyond that, I do have a big announcement I would like to make. So the reason I decided to make this video is, well, it's twofold. I've been editing and taking pictures and enjoying this hobby that has turned into somewhat of a job for the last nine years. And if I can share with you what I've found to work. Hopefully that helps you in your journey with taking pictures of cars and editing and all of the fun stuff that goes along with these two hobbies coming together, photography and cars. Now, that's the first reason. The second reason is because I'm happy to announce that I'm launching channel memberships. So if you want to support me in what I'm doing with my sim racing, car news, this has been something I've been trying to work on and figure out for the past probably 6 months. I've had everything kind of drafted and figured out, and I didn't do anything with it. But since I've been live streaming every week for the last 2 months or so now, I'm comfortable launching the channel memberships. If you do want to support me, I appreciate it. The first tier is the 2-liter turbo. It's $2 a month. You will get a weekly shout out in my news show called ECU Every Car Update. Right after the intro rolls, I'll thank all of the members, your name in my weekly news show. Could be really cool. I would love to see a wall of people and to see your name on it, supporting something that's different. There are some cool badges that I made that have cars or things from the channel, and that's really cool. There's also custom emojis. So there's one that's like, let's go. No. There's a Michelin Pepe the Frog tire one. Those are cool. And those are going to be for the Friday live stream or any kind of live stream really that you'll get to use. And also you'll have a badge next to your name. There's also the 3.8 liter V6 tier. 3.8 because the Nissan GTR. So that one, you get all the same stuff, and then also photos and status updates in the members only tab, and priority reply to comments. Okay, you get priority because you're helping me out. So, and then if you're really crazy, I'll be honest, you know, I'm supposed to sell these, but for $10 a month, each month I will edit a picture of your car, and forever on my website you will be thanked. Okay, there's going to be a section on ronaldmraz.com with your name forever. Thank you for your support. I'm not dying, but your support would go a long way in helping me reach my goals and to provide you with better content more frequently and just higher quality. Really allows me to spend more of my resources and time on YouTube and treat it as something that deserves more attention. So if that's something that you want to help me out with and support me in the channel and the future of it, I would appreciate it a lot. We got sim racing, we got news, and a Friday live show. So I hope this video in general helped you. Hopefully my editing and my style and how I told you how I do it helps you out in some way. You just don't over edit. That's my biggest piece of advice, right? You don't just throw a whole bunch of paint at a painting. I guess you do. All right, my point's been lost. I hope this video has helped you out. If you liked it, please hit the like button. It helps a lot. And subscribe so you don't miss another one. ECU will be out on Thursday. That is probably today. And I might, if this launches on Friday, be live after this video. So I hope you decide to hang out with me. I'm live every Friday, ECU every Thursday, and then occasionally a Monday or Tuesday a video as well. I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Peace out.